It's time for a zip trip to the California coast.
You know, it's been a while.
People just want to be out.
From Mendocino to Monterey, we're exploring 200 miles of beaches and cliffs like the tranquil shores of Dillon Beach.
It's magical and whimsical.
And the boundless energy at the Santa Cruz Boardwalk.
There's nothing like it right here in Santa Cruz, man.
All of it while staying safe and healthy during the COVID-19 pandemic.
We ultimately want to make sure that people are doing those things responsibly and safely.
And when we do return to normal times, just think what awaits us.
There's tons of nature, there's lots of biking and hiking and the beaches, there's lots of stuff to discover.
This is a KTVU Fox 2 special zip trip, the power of community. Friday morning, July 2-4 on the calendar, and we are zip tripping away, dialed in for the next hour on the California coast. Some pockets. Look, I know you can't quite visit yet. Nonetheless, we're going to celebrate them because when those gates do open, I tell you, let the fun begin. As we give you a live picture out at San Francisco's Baker Beach, I can't tell you how many times back in high school I'd be sitting in my friend Kanata's house and we would not know what to do. And all of a sudden someone would say, Baker. Next thing you know, about 40 of us would head down to Baker Beach for the next few hours. With that, welcome to the 9, everybody. Sal Garcia and Mike with you. Look, I'm just going to give you my 2 cents right off the bat. You know, there's Southern California, there's Northern California. We all grew up here in Northern California. My take is the beaches down south. They're beautiful, they're pretty, nice white beaches. Everyone goes out there on sunny days. The water's warmer. Up here, we don't get those sunny days as much, and maybe we don't have quite the same sand. But I will say this to you, that when it comes to overcast skies, I think more people around the Bay Area go to those beaches because those are the days sometimes, and I tell you what, Garcia, when I bring my children out there, you know, we're bundled up in sweatshirts. Those are some of the greatest days out at the beach, and I think a lot of people who live in the Bay Area, not just beaches, but enjoy our coast around here because we don't get that sunshine like LA, but that does not mean, Garcia, we don't enjoy our coast.
No, that's, I mean, one of my most favorite days of all the years I've spent in the Bay Area is when we went to the Point Reyes Lighthouse several years ago, and we walked, you know, the bazillion steps it takes to get out to the lighthouse, and you're on that point, and it was gray and cloudy and just so, you know, romantic and just evocative of the emotion and the beauty that the Bay Area has to offer. There was no sunshine, but still, it's one of my favorite days ever. So, you know, Sal, pack the puffy, right? Maybe grab a beanie and head out to the beach. Doesn't matter if it's, you know, sunshiny or gray.
Yeah, you know, and lots of times, especially because Mike mentioned that overcast weather, you get just fewer people. It's kind of a more of a personal experience and some clean, fresh air. I think a lot of people love it that way, and they wouldn't change a thing. Now, coming up on today's Zip Trip, I want to tell you, we check in with one of the many treasures found along the California coast, how marine wildlife are doing since this pandemic began. Plus, marching off the beaten path and into some unknown parts of Northern California where some of the best beaches you've never heard of can be found. And a trip down south for some family-friendly fun, the new health safety guidelines in Carlsbad and the local hotspots that are now open for business.
Well, let's start in one of my favorite spots on the California coast. Just about 2 hours south of Oakland, Monterey Bay has long been a favorite for many of us here in the Bay Area. And like many people making the trek down the California coast, my little family spent some time in Monterey and Pacific Grove recently. We took in all that the area has to offer, even though its biggest attraction remains closed.
No pandemic can shut down these breathtaking views of Monterey Bay. Between the sun, the sand, and the surf, this region seems tailor-made for tourism, 2020 style. While the Monterey Bay Aquarium has not yet reopened, tourism officials say that may be pushing locals and visitors to discover other activities they may not have considered in the past.
Maybe they hadn't gone whale watching before. Maybe they hadn't gone fishing before. Maybe they never thought of going paddle boarding. And so there's, or kayaking. There's still so much to do that, or bring their bikes here. Or as I was saying earlier, a family could rent a Surrey.
Research now shows people are willing to drive farther, up to 8 hours, to get to their vacation destination.
We've been seeing people from Southern California all the way up into like the Bay Area and beyond that have been kind of coming in, and you know, normal vacations probably have been canceled, and whether it's those return guests that love the area or, people who are like, hey, I've never been to Monterey County, so let's go and explore that. We've been seeing a combination of those types of visitors.
Many use Monterey as a jumping off point for other adventures.
You can do 17-mile drive. You can do golfing in Pebble Beach. There's so many different really amazing experiences here that are still enjoyable. And even wine tasting is still going to be offered for their outdoor spaces, as well as any restaurants that have the outdoor space that then they can accommodate people.
Outdoor dining is in full effect at Fisherman's Wharf in Monterey.
Plenty of the restaurants have outside seating. They all have to go. The al fresco dining, of course, on the wharf is absolutely marvelous. You get to see sea lions and harbor seals, otters, pelicans, seagulls. Of course, there's the boats that are floating there. The fishing is available. The whale watching is available.
Are you seeing that phenomenon of people being tourists in their own town in Monterey?
One of the biggest things is we want to support our local businesses and keep them going and around for many years to come. So that's been a big marketing push for our organization as well, just to help keep supporting those local businesses and encouraging our locals kind of cover each other's backs.
One of my favorite stops is the Pacific Grove Farmers Market on Monday afternoons. The strawberries are unmatched.
Agriculture is the #1 driver for us here in Monterey County, and we do have the absolute best produce.
I can vouch. Now, initially, the Monterey County Convention and Visitors Bureau was forecasting a $500 million loss due to the pandemic. Look, I can tell you firsthand, the money you spend in the Monterey Bay region goes a long way towards supporting the people and the businesses that are working so hard to stay afloat and make sure you have a great getaway. And Mike, we were in Monterey recently. I can tell you, the weekends were actually pretty busy, but if you can sneak out midweek, which as I know something you used to do back when you worked weekends here at KTVU, those midweek days can just be golden, and it's like you have the place to yourself.
Yeah, I agree. And I do like that one line in your story about being a tourist in your own town. I think over the last 4 months, a lot of people have been doing that. Look, that whole region, I think we're there, when I say we, my family and I, we were down there within the last 6 months, 12 months, I think, to the Monterey area, Carmel. And there's a lot of talk about Carmel Beach. I get it. It's a beautiful beach. It's nice, a little bit touristy, but Point Lobos to the south, we had a wonderful afternoon down there, just a great stretch of the coast. And then to the north, I mean, another favorite day was just finding a small little beach there in Monterey and right there at the tide pools and letting the children run around. So Sal, if I had to put one word on it, I mean, it's a gem. That whole region is just a gem.
I always think that we're lucky to live here, Mike and Gassia, and you don't have to go all the way down to Monterey. If you live on the peninsula, some of the local beaches here are well worth the short trip. The beautiful drive hugs the San Mateo County coastline. I took a look at that stretch from Half Moon Bay to Pacifica and found a lot to do outdoors. The beach in Half Moon Bay is an oasis of sorts for people who have been cooped up inside. Here you'll see lounging in the sand, running in and out of the chilly water, or perhaps building a huge sand creation using a shovel right at the shoreline. You'll also see plenty of people cycling, walking pets, and exercising outside. Some bring their fishing poles and others even tailgate right in the parking lot. And many come just to look at the beauty.
It is very beautiful. We're very lucky, and that's one thing that you can kind of see with COVID is it's kind of like making everyone take a moment and step back and have perspective.
That perspective, of course, should be at an appropriate distance. Don't worry, there are plenty of signs to remind you. Half Moon Bay Mayor and surfer Adam Eisen rode his bike here to meet us.
When I think of Half Moon Bay, I think of being outside. And then when I think of Half Moon Bay also, I think of then the restaurants that are outside serving. And we have some great restaurants that are situated where you can sit outside.
Sitting outside is possible at a lot of places between here and Pacifica, like this area a few miles north at Pillar Point in El Granada. Here you can have a leisurely lunch while sitting on the patio. We saw plenty of people enjoying food and good conversation outside, and bartenders shaking cocktails inside.
Hibiscus mojito, buddy.
All right. Look at this. You can still get an adult beverage here at this place. If you're a surfer, you can stop by at the legendary Maverick Surf Shop or just pause for a moment and enjoy the view. which includes that round thing in the background that looks like a giant golf ball. Then we took a short drive up the coast on Highway 1 for another few miles and made our way through the tunnel to Pacifica.
Pacifica is probably my favorite place to go surfing.
And you have the world's most famous Taco Bell right there.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. That place is awesome.
Henry Sutro and friends came here to surf today.
We live in such a beautiful place and we're so lucky. There's no lack of outdoor activities we can do around here. Like if I lived somewhere like even Sacramento, I feel like I'd be going crazy because there's just not nearly as many like outdoor activities you can do whilst being safe.
And if you'd rather stay out of the water, you can walk on the Pacifica Pier and watch the power of the ocean up close. Growing up in San Francisco, Pacifica was always the close beach. If you got tired of Ocean Beach, Mike and Garcia, but go down to Pacifica, hang out by that now world famous Taco Bell, and watch the surfers. It's a great place. It's not that far. I'm very familiar with it, and I know a lot of the people on the peninsula kind of wanted to keep it a secret, but I think the secret's out.
No, the secret is totally out. I mean, look, growing up, I lived in Livermore, which felt like, 3 moons away from Pacifica and Half Moon Bay when I was little. But these days I realize, look, I can be there in under an hour. And I know so many of us only go when there's something happening in those areas, right? The Pumpkin Festival, things like that. But if you, again, Mike, are able to sneak away midweek or maybe on a more cool gray summer weekend, that's when you really get to see the beauty of those places for yourself.
And you know what, coming out of San Francisco, when I would go down there, I mean, you can go 280, right? You hang a right on 92 and you come down into Half Moon Bay there. But I usually go, through Pacifica and take the coastal route and then go by Moss Landing, Moss Beach, and then come into Half Moon Bay on the north side there. I just, it takes a little bit longer sometimes. Sometimes it's actually quicker because 92 can be bumper to bumper out there getting out to Half Moon Bay. But yeah, I mean, Half Moon Bay Bruco. Great spot to get lunch. We go out there in October, I know, for the Pumpkin Fest. We don't go Saturday, Sunday. I actually take a vacation day on Monday and we go down there to Farmer John's and spend the day. Pillar Point's great. I've been out there for work, of course. I've been also out there for fun. So between there and up to Pacifica, great spot. So if you haven't been and you're itching to get out for a little trip, jump in the car and head out. It's a good spot in the Bay Area. All right, coming up next right here on Mornings on 2 to 9, we are taking our zip trip to Santa Cruz. In our next half hour, how things have changed during the pandemic around the boardwalk. But first, a popular surf spot ready to welcome visitors. In minutes, we are heading down south to Dana Point. All right, welcome back, everyone. Let's turn back the clock just a bit here. November 2005, I was a reporter right here at KTVU, working Saturday and Sundays. And I remember when Prince Charles came to visit Marin County, specifically the coast. I mean, he popped into Inverness, Bolinas, Point Reyes. I remember being in a bar with Prince Charles, and he was having a pint, and I had this delay. I'm like, I have to have a pint with him. I have to do this, but I was working, so I pushed it aside, but 15 years later, I should have had it. I mean, you don't get that opportunity. Have a pint with Prince Charles. Okay, what's the point of the story? Oh, the point is that when he was there and he was talking to reporters, he said that this area reminded him of where he grew up, basically on the other side of the Atlantic. I mean, and he's not alone. A lot of people come out to Marin County, to the coast to get away, to feel like they are somewhere else. And that includes most residents who live in the county. It's a magical spot with a number of great spots to visit during the pandemic and beyond. A hidden gem, even on an overcast day, where the sound of waves mixed with the smell of tamales and bodega bays.
It's the perfect coastline. It's sandy, it's calm waters.
This is Dillon Beach, tucked away in the northern tip of Marin County, and on sunny days, hundreds of people sneak out west to drop a towel in a chair to spend the day.
It's perfect waves for either new beginner swimmers or seasoned surfers.
Vicki Hopeful is the general manager of the Dillon Beach Resort, where you can grab takeout at the Coastal Kitchen or snack at the general store, all before hitting the beach or surf.
the general store, we've got, grab and go sandwiches. We've got fresh salads. We've got cold beer, ice cream, an espresso bar.
And if you leave Dillon Beach and just head south along Tomales Bay, there's another gem with another name not too far away.
When you get out there, you really feel like you have gone a super far distance, and it's really like a little over an hour from San Francisco.
Dina Grunt is the president of Nick's Cove, a brilliant spot with brilliant views, a boutique inn, 12 cottages, a restaurant, and a historic roadside bar.
It's not just a restaurant. It's not just a place to stay for the weekend. It's like a whole experience. You can spend hours just enjoying the property. We moved a lot of our tables outside. So there are tables at the boat shock. We have tables along the pier, tables along our waterfront. We also encourage people, bring your own blanket and take a walk up into our garden and sit up there. And when your food is ready, just bring your food up there and enjoy it.
And if it's just a day out there on the Pacific you need, head south to Fort Cronkite, north of the Golden Gate, where Rodeo Beach is all you need. Pull out a fishing pole, bring your surfboard, walk the beach, or even hike the trails to the north to soak in those rolling hills and amazing views. Now, these are just 3 spots. We could name plenty more, but a day trip to any is enough to fill one's appetite. One who is hungry for a meal, for a drink, or for a moment with nature as we all power through the pandemic.
There are tide pools for exploration. There are cliffs that kind of surround this little area.
We will survive this. We will figure out a way to continually make changes to stay open and stay serving the community that we love.
Now, because we are in this pandemic, I mean, things are very fluid here. So if you ever want to go out to Dillon Beach or Nick's Cove, pick up the phone and dial them up to say exactly, hey, things are changing every week here, what's open, what's not. So that's just a tip right there. Also, when you go to Nick's, it's pretty cool because they have like this 2-acre garden that's right across the street, and 90% of the vegetables that are grown in that garden are actually used on their plates and also their signature cocktails. And Garcia and Sal, I tell you what, again, like I mentioned in that story, that's just a few spots. I mean, you could talk about Muir Beach, you could talk about Tennessee Valley and the Cove there, you could talk obviously Stinson Beach, one of the more popular ones in Marin, Heart's Desire, and not to leave out Sonoma County, we haven't touched on that, but if you ever go up to Jenner, right there at the mouth of the Russian River, there's some cool beaches up there as well. So, I know not everyone has been out there, but if you get a chance and everything is open, pack up, Sal. It's a special spot.
Yeah, one of my favorite things to do before the pandemic was just to head out there and just stop where we wanted to, kind of like a spur-of-the-moment trip and not have any plans because there's no lack of things to do. Now, it might be, as you said in that story, Mike, a little different. You should call ahead, but still plenty to do, Garcia.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I'll be honest, again, growing up in Livermore, which was 1,000 miles away by today's standards, I didn't even know there was a thing such as West Marin. But as soon as I moved back here and, became an adult, we go to West Marin every year just before Christmas time. We get the stinky old Red Hawk cheese from Cowgirl Creamery. We try to hike the little Earthquake Trail there at Bear Valley Road in Point Reyes. Get a nice cup of coffee at Bovine Bakery in Point Reyes. You can spend a day. We've also made it into an extended weekend. So look, if you're lucky enough that this is in your backyard, go, because those businesses and others, appreciate and rely on you. And if you're not lucky enough to live there, jot a couple of these ideas down because you're getting it straight from the people who know best. So very good to be reminded of those beautiful, beautiful places in gorgeous West Marin. So in a minute, we're going to take a trip down south. It's going to be a car trip, so pack your snacks and some, couple good song lists here because we are heading to Southern California this morning on the 9th for a zip trip celebrating the California coast. Up next, the popular surf spot of Dana Point is ready to welcome visitors. We'll talk with them next. Welcome back to our zip trip, this time celebrating the California coast. We're highlighting what's in our own backyard, certainly, and exploring what Southern California has to offer. So let's welcome to the 9 from Orange County, the president of Visit Dana Point. Good morning to you, Johnny Weston.
Good morning. How are you?
I am great, and I imagine you're the same. Give us an update on what's open and what we can do right now there in Dana Point.
Absolutely. So Dana Point, if you haven't heard of our little small surf town, is just located in southern Orange County below Laguna Beach. And we share 6.5 miles of pristine shoreline along the California coast, and is known as the birthplace of surf culture, meaning that the first foam surfboard was found in Dana Point, the first surf shop was in Dana Point, and the Endless Summer movie was actually filmed in Dana Point, where Surfer Magazine was also found. So it has a really rich surf culture that goes back decades and decades and decades. And over time, it has become this and blossomed into this beautiful destination. So in Dana Point, we have 11 hotels, 4 pristine resorts situated on top of the bluffs overlooking the Pacific Ocean, and 7 additional properties that also have ocean views. 10 of the 11 hotels are open, and as are our restaurants, our shopping centers, and spas, and shopping districts. And we made modifications due to the governor's orders. So you will see dining on sidewalks and in the parking lots and the streets. People are making really cool accommodations so that the environment and the experience continues to be top notch. But the resorts are also making those accommodations. So when you come to one of our hotels, you'll be greeted, and you'll have a safety feel because most of our hotels and resorts have gone through different safety checks and protocols and implemented different safety measures to make sure that the guests feel safe when they visit Dana Point.
I know a lot of people have had to cancel or postpone, their big summer vacations overseas, airplane travel. It feels like more and more people are willing to drive longer distances to get to their summer vacations. Are you seeing people from farther away in California who otherwise might not consider vacationing not too far from their own backyard?
Absolutely, and that's the neat part about California is there's so many different regions and places that you could visit that have a world feel about them, whether it's the coast or Death Valley or the Redwoods. There's something for everyone. What we're encouraging people to do as far away as San Francisco is to drive the coast all the way down and land in Dana Point, and that's where you would spend your vacation. Dana Point is actually halfway between Los Angeles and San Diego. And as that midpoint, it's far enough removed to where there's a lot of open air, a lot of open space. It feels removed from larger cities, so you feel like you have distance between people that's just innate to the destination. But it's also a place to relax. So there's a lot of open air, nature, activity, and those types of things. So you don't feel really cramped as much as you feel the abundance of air and naturalism throughout the community. Again, with the 6.5 miles of beach, it really gives people the ample space to set up wherever they would like to and enjoy those different experiences. So our target during this time frame is to really attract people from the San Francisco region, obviously the greater Los Angeles and Southern California regions, but also extending out into Las Vegas and Phoenix, because we know that people are looking for a coastal destination. And Dana Point having that little bit of paradise, and going back to what you were saying about overseas trips, you don't have to go overseas anymore. When you find Dana Point, it's that hidden gem that you may not have heard of, but it will be on your bucket list, and also will give you some bragging rights when you talk to your friends.
All right, and if you drive down one the whole way down, it'll just be an amazing trip from start to finish. All right, Johnny Westham of Visit Dana Point, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Of course.
Coming up on our Zip Trip, soak up breathtaking views from around San Francisco. In minutes, we're heading to these 2 familiar beaches, plus a vacation hotspot for the whole family. The beachfront views in Carlsbad, just a short distance from the Legoland Hotel. That's coming up next. Beach, a little overcast there, still beautiful, kind of an iconic view of the city there, the Golden Gate Bridge. You can see that this view of Baker Beach is just beautiful, brings back a lot of memories. Well, Santa Cruz is one of those places that has a special emotional attachment to people. I remember I went on one of my very first dates ever to the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, along with my parents, of course. Let's not get into that, but we went to the Boardwalk, so Santa Cruz is special for me. It's special for a lot of people. Claudine Wong is here to tell us more about this place that a lot of people hold close to their heart. Claudine.
Yeah, no, wait, I want to hear more about that date, Sal. I'm just kidding.
No.
Yes, like you, I've loved Santa Cruz ever since I was a kid. I have so many memories there, and like many people around the Bay Area, I have a soft spot for it. There are so many great places to visit, not just the Boardwalk and that old wooden roller coaster, but we should mention, of course, that it has just joined the state's COVID watch list. So officials are asking people who aren't locals to postpone your visit, and I know that's hard because going to that coast is so fun, but we still really want to celebrate the amazing place that is Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz has always pulled us in.
Beach on one side and the mountains on the other. I love it.
It's the charm of Capitola, the beauty of the Natural Bridges State Beach, that stretch of sand at Twin Lakes, and those views from West Cliff Drive.
Coming over here is just it's a relaxing vibe. It's, you know what I mean? It's just a smooth feeling, man. You know what I mean? There's nothing like it right here in Santa Cruz, man.
And then there's the Boardwalk. Here, the sound of laughter has mixed with the roar of the Giant Dipper. Until now. Food and retail are open, but the rides and arcade are quiet, and masks and social distancing are a must.
It's safer, and safety is important. I don't want to have them standing in lines and catching the virus anyway, so that's fine.
The Santa Cruz coast has had to adapt. Places like Zelda's in Capitola still bring the crowds.
We're very lucky, as you can see behind me here, we have a really big outdoor seating area, so I feel like we've actually been far less affected than most other businesses have.
But Capitola and Santa Cruz are also getting creative with outdoor dining, and locals have stepped up.
Really living and breathing that shop local spirit that we really have here, but kind of taking it to the next level.
But with millions of visitors every year taking that windy route down 280 and onto Highway 17, public officials are trying to get the word out.
Our basic message has been that we want people to stay in their own communities as much as possible. That limits the spread of COVID, both within your community and our community.
They want you to stay home, but they also know people haven't.
I mean, I think we're still surprised by the number of people that are continuing to visit the community.
We found a visitor from Spain.
I'm just enjoying the Ocean Pacific, so I just need a little bit of fresh air and inspiration, so I just came by to see the sea.
A trio from Florida and Oklahoma.
Great people, the great tourist attractions, and the beach in general is just gorgeous.
A family on a road trip.
When you're stuck at home for a period of time,
it's just nice to be out.
It's nice to be out.
And a man who says this is tradition.
We love it. It's the beach, it's the boardwalk that's closed now, but we love the beach, and we come every year.
So the Visitors Bureau is asking people to take a pledge to wear masks and socially distance.
It's a privilege to be able to enjoy it here, so I'm happy to do whatever I can. So, I'm doing whatever distancing I can. I'm wearing this mask.
People have been making memories here for a long time, and there's time to make more when it's safe. All right, so in addition to that pledge, if you're thinking, oh gosh, I still want to, think of a time when I can go, the city set up this website. It's called rideoutthewave.org. It's got all these local businesses, so many great places that I recognize some of the names and places. So they're like, buy a gift card, support the businesses, and then make that future visit out there when it's safe, because it's awesome, and I certainly have missed going there. Gassia?
No, I mean, Claudine, absolutely. And we've even taken the train from Roaring Camp in Felton down to the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Look, in the future when that's available again, 100% do it. Great recommendations, Claudine. All right, let's stick very close to home. This might be your own backyard if you're lucky enough to live in or near San Francisco. The city has more than a dozen beautiful beaches surrounding the city, from Fort Funston South to Aquatic Park right inside the bay. Let's bring in KTVU's Frank Malicote. You're going to give us a good inside look at two of the city's more popular beaches, Frank.
Hey, Gassia, good morning to you. I think we've all heard of Ocean Beach. That's our first stop. But what about Baker Beach? It begins a little south of Golden Gate Park, and the view is spectacular. If you've never been before, that too is a must-see for so many reasons. Ocean Beach in all its splendor, 3 miles of salty goodness, all lapping up on San Francisco's western edge. It's a haven for bikers, joggers, and dogs alike. And it's the perfect place to take a deep breath and enjoy the view.
I think if you don't live on the west side, you don't see it. I live out towards SF State, so I know the area real well. we're very fortunate to have us.
The beach is busy because the water is rough and icy cold. Mid-50s for those that dare, like surfers and boogie boarders. It's so cold, legendary surfer Jack O'Neill actually invented the wetsuit at Ocean Beach back in the 50s. For 59 years, Playland ruled the beach, a 10-acre seaside amusement park before it all shut down in 1972. The Cliff House remains, though, in its third incarnation, with Seal Rock front and center. And just north, the ruins of the Sutro Baths, once the biggest indoor pool in the world. 1.7 million gallons of salt water before a massive fire destroyed it all in 1966. And not far away,
scenery for me. I like scenery out here. So that's what it is for me.
Baker Beach is just a short 4-mile drive north from Ocean Beach. It's a great escape on the Presidio's western shore. 1+ miles of sandy beach with some of the city's most spectacular cliffside homes. And one of the best picture-taking areas for the Golden Gate.
I think it is, too, because of the Gate Bridge, too. That's why we started coming here, or China Beach right around the corner, too.
It's going to give you a good feeling whenever you're here. Like weather, the beach, the view, the people around you. It's going to make you away from all stress. It's going to give you some time to think about yourself.
Well, Baker Beach is simply the best. Where else can you go? Where you got the Pacific on one side, then you're staring at this iconic Golden Gate Bridge and the mouth of the bay. Both Baker and Ocean Beach are open right now, and the parking lots are open too. But do keep an eye on those COVID-19 restrictions. They can change, and those parking lots have been shut down before. Mike, I know you spent a lot of time there going to high school in the city, and Baker Beach brings back a lot of memories. It's so close, too, I think people forget.
Yeah. Yeah, even my parents, both of them being natives and growing up in the avenues, I hear the stories from the old, the Sutro Baths in those days. So, Frank, thank you for that. We appreciate it. If you are looking for a place to take your children, and we're going outside Northern California here, there's a good spot down south in Southern California. Legoland Park in Carlsbad may be closed right now because of the pandemic, but its hotel is open for business, and it is a family-friendly hotel. There's also some cool beaches right nearby. All right, let's bring in right now Julie Estrada, live from Legoland, California. Julie is the park spokesperson there. And Julie, thanks for joining us. I got to think, the last 4 months here it's had to be pretty difficult for you guys there.
It's been challenging for sure. We have at Legoland California Resort, we have a water park and sea life aquarium and more than 60 ride shows and attractions in our park itself. And then we have 2 beautiful hotels. And then to not be able to have them open has really been sad for us to not be there for the guests. But we found a way, and we now have Legoland Hotel open.
That's cool because, and I know that recently happened, and I know for a lot of people in counties, they're being encouraged to stay home, but slowly we are getting through this pandemic and we're able to pack up. And if we head down there via plane or car, whatever it may be, it's nice to know that you guys are taking baby steps and that the hotel is open, although there are some restrictions, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to go inside the pool area right now, if that's okay. We have 2 hotels, Legoland Hotel and Legoland Castle Hotel. Right now we have Legoland Hotel open at limited capacity. So we're about 70%, but you can choose between 5 different room themes. We have Pirate, Adventure, Kingdom, Lego Ninjago, Lego Friends, and we're offering the lowest price rates ever at $169, which we haven't done before. But as you can see, kids are starting to come into the pool area. It's a little after 9:30. They're booking windows. So we have reservation windows for 2 hours at a time. So they'll come in, they'll book. We also have cabanas you can rent for about 4 or 5 hours that you can rent with the family and enjoy your day here at the pool.
And it's not really just on property. You could do what you're doing right there and book that 2-hour window, but just outside there in Carlsbad, you've got a great coastline, you've got great beaches that people can go visit as well.
We really are lucky here because there's so many places to be outside. I know we're doing everything with the masks and social distancing here, but we have more than 60 miles of lagoons, trails here in Carlsbad. We have 3 lagoons spanning over 1,700 acres. We have so much room where you can go hiking and kayaking and paddleboarding and surfing, and we're a mile away from the beach right here at Legoland, California. So, Carlsbad itself is such a great place to explore, and we have a golf course nearby. There's all kinds of fun places for the kids, and we're geared towards 2 to 12-year-olds. So we're used to having families come down and have fun and be outside and explore, and we encourage that. And then at night, when they're tired and they're ready, they want to take a nap, then they come inside when they're Lego themed.
And Julie, what about the park itself? I mean, the theme park. I mean, I was hearing that you guys had a date maybe you could open, but then based on county guidelines, that didn't happen. You had to push it back. For people who also want to experience that down the road here, do you have a specific date or an idea of when maybe the theme park itself could reopen?
Mike, I wish I had a good answer for you right now. I really do.
Yeah.
We've been waiting, and we've talked to every county, state, city, legislature possible, from senators to assemblymen to the county public health. Everybody has looked at our plan, looked at our health and safety guidelines, thinks they're high and above, and we went above and beyond. All of our guests who are ages 3 and up have to wear the masks. We're extensive cleaning. We don't have any of our Lego brick out in the communal areas. We're just waiting right now.
Yeah.
It's a waiting game. So we figured in the meantime, while we can give you an escape and give you a place to go and have a nice staycation, this is the place to do it.
You know what I wanted to ask you, because I have two young children, and they really enjoy, on our air at KTVU Fox 2, we've got Lego Masters that airs. And that started up earlier this year before the pandemic, and they were glued to this show. And I kind of was walking by it back and forth, and all of a sudden I found myself sitting down and watching this and watching these amazing things get built. But again, that was pre-pandemic, and I was wondering, if you were getting a lot of phone calls because of Lego Masters and people saying, hey, maybe we should go check out this Legoland.
Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of families at home who are building with Lego. So right now, we opened up the Big Shop, which is the largest Lego retail store on the West Coast. It's right inside the beginning of our park. So right inside of Legoland, California, you can enter the Big Shop. We opened it to the public 10 to 4 on the weekends, 10 to 2 on the weekdays. And the winning models from the Fox show, the Lego Masters, are here on display for the first time for guests to see. So we have them right inside the Big Shop.
Sweet.
So you can come inside, see the first, second, third place model. The third place winner, actually, Sam, he was one of the winners from third place. We talked to him last week and invited him down to Legoland. And he was so excited that his model was going to be on display here at the park.
All right, Julie, I appreciate your time. I'm glad you guys are slowly getting there, and hopefully people up here in Northern California in the Bay Area, when we're ready, when we're comfortable, we can pack up and head down and visit not just the hotel, but the beaches there in Carlsbad, a special spot in Southern California. Julie Estrada from Legoland, California. Have a great weekend, Julie.
Thanks, Mike. My quick tip for you, I sorry there's a loud car next to us, but if you've got young kids, if you want to watch your Lego bricks, put them in a nylon mesh bag, throw them in the dishwasher overnight, clean. Great way to clean the Lego bricks while you're at home.
Nice tip. I love it. All right, Julie, thank you. And Sal, I've actually never been there, but have you been down to Legoland or just the Carlsbad area?
Absolutely. We've been to Legoland several times.
You enjoyed it?
We love it there. I loved it. My kids loved it. They have actually Legoland has some good food inside the park there. At the hotel, it's nice. I can't wait for it to reopen. Right near Legoland, there's this place called the Flower Fields where you can walk through. It's in Carlsbad, and not too far away are the beaches, as we've been mentioning. So it's the moment that things open up, I'm down there.
Totally. I mean, the whole North County region there in San Diego County, it's a lot quieter. It's much more relaxing than sort of, the beaches down in the heart of San Diego everyone knows and goes to. So big double thumbs up for just that whole North County, Carlsbad area. And, quadruple thumbs up for Legos in this family. You guys, I can't tell you, I think we have, the world stash of Legos in our living room right now. So, of course, don't step on one if you're barefoot and it's in the middle of the night. Coming up in a second here, we're going to talk about adventurous travel. If you are the type, and I may not be, but I know there are those out there who want a big adventure with your California coastal trip. We're talking live with travel expert Gabe Sagley in minutes. He will lead us on a grand adventure.
Well, for those like myself who are itching to travel, we have some more beach destinations, some that are right here in Northern California and others that are a little bit more off the beaten path. To give us his picks, we're joined by travel expert Gabe Sagley. And Gabe, what is your first pick? Because I have a list here, and I think it's Fort Fudston, which is one of my favorite all-time beaches.
Yeah, and actually, I called the folks over at the Fairmont Sonoma Mission Inn and Spa and said, hey, listen, folks are visiting the vineyards and they want to go to a beach, what do you recommend? And actually, Fort Funston, China Beach, a couple of those great beaches in southwestern San Francisco that they offer their sophisticated guests. So the neat thing about Fort Funston, obviously, there's a lot of history here. This was right before World War I, was a military defense installation. Those 200-foot cliffs give you that great perspective there. It is not a swimming beach, Sal, so keep that in mind. It's very wind-swept, this area, so it's great for hang gliding. You'll find a great hang gliding launch pad there, but otherwise, great network of trails. Horseback riding is an option here. There's a company called Urban Diversions that will actually take you on an hour-long horseback riding trip through the hiking trails down into the sand as well. So if you like this sort of beautiful open space, some great hiking options, Fort Funston is one of those really sort of close to home for a lot of folks beach destinations there in southwestern San Francisco.
Yeah, Gabe, and you can bring your dog there too, which is a plus for those of us who like animals. That's right, you can bring your dog there. Tell us about Sonoma County. It's a little not too far either. There's a beach in Sonoma County here.
Yeah, so Sonoma County, we think of all the ag, production that happens there, but really there are 55 miles of coastline there in Sonoma County, and some of the best beaches you're going to access through Sonoma Coast State Park. And I'm picking Jenner Beach here, right next to the town of Jenner, simply because of how open and wide the space here is. A lot of driftwood art, so a lot of folks love to come down here and collect some of that great driftwood and create some pretty neat coastal art, if you will. Otherwise, great for doing a little snorkeling there, doing a little bit of kayaking. You're right at the north end of the mouth of the Russian River. So if you go to the town of Jenner, there's a visitor center there for the state beaches that'll actually launch you to do some kayaking, to do a little bit of boating there as well. So great open space, just about 2 hours north of the city of San Francisco there. Jenner Beach, next to the town of Jenner.
Now, Gabe, there is a beach called Bowling Ball Beach, and I'm kind of afraid to say, but I haven't been there. It's in Mendocino County. It's one of the beaches that I still have on my list here. Tell me about that beach.
So Bowling Ball Beach, very cool. It's because of these formations you see on the sand here. You want to check the tide chart. Check out when the tide is low, as the ocean pulls back, it reveals these hundreds of formations. They're not actual rocks. They're concretions. So in case there are geologists watching, I want to get that right. Not actual rocks, they're concretions, which is basically compact mass that over the eons have been formed in these sort of round shapes. And just kind of a cool thing to look at. And again, you're close to some great kayaking and some snorkeling spots here. But if you want a great beach to walk down and then these great formations to gaze at when the tide is low, you've got Bowling Ball Beach there in Mendocino County, again, about 3 hours north of the city of San Francisco.
Yeah, some great pictures if you're a photographer there, too. It looks like a place I want to go to. And last but not least, up in Northern California, one of the most northern beach, it's Klamath Beach, another beach that I still have to visit. It's a little far away, but it's worth the trip.
Yeah, so this is in Del Norte County, Sal. This is the northernmost county in the state of California. So this is for folks who want to just drive about 6 hours north. Lots of open space, lots of elbow room between people, and some great beaches as well. Klamath Beach, right on the south end of the Klamath River mouth, and protected by this huge sand spit. So it's the calm waters. Again, great kayaking here, great boating as well, and just one of these great open beaches there. You're surrounded by the redwood forests in some of these areas up there as well. So Klamath Beach, remote. The journey is part of the experience here because you're driving about 6 hours north. But again, protected water space here that makes it really family friendly, and one of these great beaches there on the northernmost coast of the Golden State.
Gabe Saglier, travel expert, thank you. You just expanded my list of places I want to go to, so thanks again for those picks.
Thanks, Al.
All right, Mike and Garcia, Gabe had a couple of things I hadn't done before. Of course, I've been to Fort Funston, but I haven't been to Bowling Ball Beach. Have any of you been there?
No, I've never been to Bowling Ball Beach. When he was talking about Sonoma County, specifically about Jenner, like, think about people who don't live here and they think Sonoma County. They think, Domaine Carneros, Gloria Ferrar, Buena Vista. They think wine, right? Sonoma, it just puts into perspective how big the county is, because you go from downtown Sonoma all the way west out to Jenner. I mean, it's a great spot. You can hang out in Guerneville, Monte Rio, and just kind of follow the Russian River along until you hit Jenner, and enjoy a day at the beach. It is a good beach. I've been there. Goat Rock Beach, also Gaussia is a good beach out near Jenner.
I think it's true. One of you said it earlier in the week, but when we think, California beaches, most of us sort of have a Southern California bias. Look, if you drive north, and 100 million years ago on our honeymoon, we drove up the California coast, starting at the Golden Gate Bridge, all along Highway 1. It was the most wonderful, eye-opening week we spent along the California coast. If you have that kind of time on your hands, look, it was just the two of us, so we didn't come in contact with anybody but ourselves. So it might be a safe way for you to explore if you head up north to the beach. It's just gorgeous up there. Thumbs up all around. So when we come back for the next installment of our Zip Trip, we're going to go to a place that we report on frequently on the news, but perhaps you've never visited as a visitor. We're giving you an inside look at all the good work that's happening at the Marine Mammal Center up in Sausalito. Among the Golden State's natural treasures, the marine life that call the California coast home. KTVU's Ali Rasmus now reports from Sausalito, where educators at the Marine Mammal Center are finding the pandemic is affecting coastal wildlife in a surprising way.
So we've got one of the kind of richest ecosystems of marine mammals you can find anywhere around the world.
And the Marine Mammal Center in Sausalito works to study and rescue them.
California sea lions, the northern elephant seal, and the Pacific harbor seal. But we also have things like sea otters, we've got dolphins, we've got fur seals, and whales.
So far this year, the Marine Mammal Center has rescued about 300 animals, fewer than in recent years.
Some years it could be around 700 animals, and in some years it could be close to 2,000 animals.
Adam Ratner, Associate Director of Conservation Education for the center, says the pandemic may be one of the reasons why the number of rescues declined.
The good news around kind of the shelter-in-place elements is that we saw less people out on the beaches, which could mean less disruption to these moms and pups and animals that are resting. But we also know that that could mean less reporting.
Another possible reason may have nothing to do with us humans at all.
We just didn't have a lot of storms, to be perfectly honest, in January and February. And that meant less storms that could potentially separate baby elephant seals from their moms.
Whatever the reason, the Marine Mammal Center was able to continue its vital work during the pandemic.
As a hospital, we're already prepared for certain things like this. So we've got things like PPE that we're using.
Careful planning made sure heartwarming moments like this took place throughout the year. In this video, you see volunteers keep a safe distance when they help release this rehabilitated sea lion back into the wild. But Ratner says someday the pandemic will end and crowds of people will return to the beaches, increasing the chances of animal encounters. When that does happen,
the rule is to always keep at least 50 feet away from the animals. If they start acknowledging your behavior, so let's say they lift up their head and they're looking at you, you're a little bit too close.
A reminder that, pandemic or not, admiring these coastal creatures from afar is the best way to keep them healthy and safe. Ali Rasmus, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Back when they were doing public tours, my family took one and our eyes have been opened. The Marine Mammal Center gratefully accepts donations, Mike, so the people there can keep doing the good work they do.
Yeah, amazing job out there. So thank you for all your hard work, for everyone who volunteers and who works out at the Marine Mammal Center. Hey, it's been a fun hour, Sal Gaussia, hanging out with you and delivering this news. It's kind of fun to break up. We're so involved with the pandemic. It's nice to break it up a little bit and do an hour on the Bay Area coast, on the California coast. And we're going to do it again in a couple of weeks. Our next Zip Trip will be Friday, August 7th. We hope you join us for that one when we visit the Oakland Zoo. Sal, have a great weekend, my friend. Gaussia and I will see you back here at noon when we are going to bring you Governor Newsom's news conference live. Wendy Williams is up next.